everybody, you're welcome to the Renee Q Show. My name is Renee Q Boateng, and our guest today is a very good friend of mine, Sika Goka, and we're going to be talking about etiquette. Did you notice how my voice changed and how suddenly the etiquette. Now, Sika Goka is a certified etiquette coach. She received her training from the British School of Etiquette in the UK, and as part of her accreditation, she's also certified by the Institute of Leadership Management, ILM, City and Guild. Sika, you're so welcome. Thank you so much for your time. I know how busy you are, and I'm so excited to have you on, I have to say. I'm so excited to have you on. Sika is a very good friend of mine. We go way, way, way back when we both moved back to Ghana, and our first jobs was in a bank. I won't mention the name. We started banking. Now, from banking to etiquette, that's such a huge leap. And I'm not surprised that you're doing this anyway, because you've always been such a lady. You know, I mean, every woman is a lady. Please don't say, don't watch it. Don't say, so I'm not a lady. No, I'm not talking about you. But you've just always had this sort of poise. That's what I'll call it. Yes, you've always had a sort of poise. So when I heard that you started doing this, I wasn't surprised at all. But tell me what actually led you to do it.
Okay, thank you for that, Renee. And it's a pleasure to be here today.
Thank you.
So like you said, having a banking background, one thing that you will agree on is that it's a very disciplined sort of place to work in.
Right.
No transaction ever originates and ends with the same person. And this is because you have to have checks and balances to protect yourself and your customers as well. And with that, you're always facing customers.
Right.
So one of the elements that comes into play is good customer service as well, and your interaction with other people. And naturally, I wanted to understand a little bit more about how we do things. Etiquette in itself describes how we interact with other people. It basically dictates the social norms and acceptable conduct in society pertaining to people of a particular group, organization, and even a society. Okay, so having that very disciplined background, and then even working in a restaurant, once again, customer facing, I was on a journey to learn a little bit more about how I could integrate into different societies and not feel like I was lacking in a particular way. Like you've complimented me very much and said I have all this grace and poise, but I've identified those things in other people, and I've just thought, what is it about them? Is it something that they were taught, or did they have to go and learn? Right. And then with that as well, I like people and I love interaction. And at times I can be very shy. So I wanted to learn how I could walk into a room and not feel intimidated, but introduce myself to people and get to know other people. And just basically, make sure that my first impression is the best one, so that nobody would misunderstand.
The first impression of you.
Exactly, so that nobody would misunderstand who I am as a person. I always want to put my best foot forward. And that's what led me down that journey. And I'm so glad I did that, because now I realize that I have a lot of knowledge to impart. And, it just makes me feel good. It allows me to meet new people. And I just love it when somebody comes to me and they're extremely shy and timid and they have all these questions and they walk out like a completely different person.
Right.
Simply because
etiquette has something to do with confidence?
Absolutely. Because you see, the whole idea is that unless you belong, or you've been given some rules and guidelines about how to comport yourself in a particular situation, you're not going to know. And that's not to say you are a bad-mannered person.
Right.
Think about it. We have etiquette in this country. For instance, when you walk into a room and you are about to greet people, it's the normal thing to do it from your right to the left. Now, somebody coming from Europe, like myself, I wouldn't have known that. And you walk into a room and then you start naturally going clockwise, and everyone is like, they'll be pointing and giving you the other direction. And you're thinking, what have I done wrong? But you've accidentally offended people without even knowing it. Not because you were bad-mannered. I was coming to greet, but I wasn't taught the proper etiquette for this particular type of scenario.
And right-handed, left-handed,
and people, precisely, and that's another thing. If you don't know, outside of
so the etiquettes can differ in different countries, different environments.
Absolutely. There's certain things that remain the same across different geographical areas and different countries, but there's some things that are unique to a particular type of people in a particular nation.
So etiquette is different from good manners, would you say?
They tie in together.
Okay.
Most of us have basic good manners. You know, we're even taught as infants, when you first teach your children how to say thank you, when you give them something, and even the pride, you know, when they say thank you for the first time, you know, most people actually feel good when they're displaying good manners. Etiquette is a bit different. You know, it's about the particular social nuances that, unless you've actually availed yourself to that particular learning, you may not necessarily know. Right. But most of us, you know, we want to display good manners, and those sorts of things are easier to identify in a person.
Can give us like maybe 1 or 2 examples? How can you tell that somebody has good etiquette?
Okay, for instance, maybe if you've been invited to somebody's home and you've arrived, your host is going to want to offer you some tea or coffee or something. And it may just be that you just guzzled, you know, a liter on your way in, but to refuse to accept it may actually offend your host. So the best thing to do is actually just say, yes, please, or thank you. And do your best to sip it from time to time. You never know the trouble somebody's actually gone to prepare for your arrival. So it's little things like that. And then maybe sometimes the more obvious things, like, you know, how you're sitting and how you carry yourself. But, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that that person hasn't been well groomed. Maybe they just haven't been shown the extent to which, you know, they're displaying these sorts of things.
I love this. I love this. I hope you're writing notes. I mean, this is really good, and it's good that from time to time we talk about things like this.
Yes.
Because like you said, some people don't know at all. Yes. Like somebody probably could have gone into somebody's home, been offered water, and like you said, they probably drank a bottle on their way. So they are thinking, I don't want to waste your water.
Yes.
I don't want to waste your bottle.
Yes.
So rather than maybe open it and pour it in a glass and I won't drink it at all.
Precisely.
Oh, no, thank you. So they are thinking they're being even polite by saving you water.
Precisely.
But then it might offend you.
Exactly.
Because, so it's good to just understand these things. And then to know. And I like that you said sip. Yes. Because sometimes you see grow, and the whole thing is down. So I like that you said sip and everything. That's really good. So it's really important to have good etiquette, would you say? How important is it?
It's extremely vital so that you don't go around offending people. You know, we're nothing without our manners. Let's face it. You can win people over, or you can, you know, basically ostracize people by the way that you treat them. And, you know, somebody with a good etiquette knows those sorts of connections. You know, when you're having a conversation, you'll be present in it and you'll give somebody that attention, and you won't be on your phone and things like that. Somebody who doesn't care for these little details may never be invited back again, you know, for...
It becomes part of your personal brand.
Precisely.
Yes, like
you know,
become known for that.
And I mean,
and
and you can't escape it in every aspect of life. In certain places and in certain institutions, like when you're working, you may be given an HR manual that will give you a guidance on how to behave at work, what you do if you're going to be in late, or you have to call in sick. So you're told exactly what to do. Likewise, school children are probably adhering to their code of conduct for school. So in those sorts of scenarios, it's very clearly drawn out for you. But social etiquette is the other thing that you have to go on a self-development journey to really learn, because it's not everything that your parents can teach you. You know, they can do stuff up to a certain point, and make sure that you go out there, put your best foot forward and display your manners. But there's certain things that you have to learn when you're elevating yourself and moving in different social circles and things like that.
And I have to ask you, where? So let's say somebody watching is probably like, oh, wow, I didn't even know. Yes. And I'm 35. Oh my goodness, I'm 42. Oh my goodness, I'm 28. Is it ever too late?
It's never too late, Renee. And you know, that's what I'm discovering. Embarking on this journey, I even thought to myself, how are people even going to respond to this? Are they going to think, who is this hoity-toity girl coming to tell everybody, you know, how to behave? But you'll be surprised to know that a lot of my clients are actually mature ladies like ourselves in corporate jobs, you know, very, very highly educated, but they realize that there's something that they didn't get to know whilst they were coming up. And they come to me, you know, either for private sessions or group sessions in the workshops, just to learn a little bit more. And especially when it comes to social etiquette, you know, you can make introductions. We can all smile when we meet people. But, you know, when you avail yourself to that teaching, you understand that there's even a protocol for making introductions and introducing yourselves. And those are the finer, intricate things that they want to come and learn. And naturally as well, eating is a very much social event as well. So, there's dining etiquette as well that people are really, really wanting to know a little bit more about.
Have you read that book, Etiquette for Boys and Girls?
Most likely. I mean, I have a lot of resources that I go to.
No, but you didn't go to school in Ghana.
No.
I mean, for those of us who went to school in Ghana, that book, do you remember that book? Do you remember? I mean, to be honest, I don't even remember what was in that book, but I read it.
Okay.
But I don't even remember who gave me the book. Maybe it was for Girls Guide or something. I don't know. But then that, I remember, I think it was a blue book. The cover was blue. And was it? Was I don't remember. But we had to read that book. And I'm sure we're just reading it and just to say that we finished. But did we apply it?
Okay.
That is the question. So I think I'm going to look for that book.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to look for that book. Because I'm just wondering, how would you even know if you have good etiquette?
Okay, so I think most of the time maybe people would remark on your particular behavior. Like I said, etiquette may be a little bit more difficult to identify and define because you have to know etiquette yourself to know that, okay,
I'm not doing the right thing.
This is, or even identify that this person knows what they're about. They've gone through the steps in the proper protocol. However, what we can all appreciate is a well-mannered person, And the truth is, there's nothing wrong with asking when you don't know something.
Right.
That's the beauty of it. Even when I was receiving my training, a lot of the people looked like myself, mature, ladies. We were not just straight out of high school and things like that, but we all had this passion for etiquette and wanting to impart the knowledge to other people because we found that once we learned some things, it actually made life a lot easier. So in every aspect of life, there's something to be applied.
I really like that. It's almost like going to finishing school, adding on. And I always say on my Instagram lives, follow me on Instagram at ReneQGH. So I always say a lot of the time on my Instagram lives that you never stop learning.
Yes.
Once you are alive, every day is an opportunity to learn.
Yes.
So you don't finish a degree, a second degree, even a master's, PhD, and think I'm done. Every day is an opportunity to keep learning and to keep learning.
Yes.
So I love the finishing school, basically. That it's a school that you can go to learn more about, etiquette, mannerism, your poise, your personal brand. I think it's so important that anybody at all who can go to should go because you never know. These are even little things that people at work can notice, and that could even give you a promotion.
Precisely. And like you said, you never stop learning. Look, if you're a graduate and you've come out of university and now you're going to your first job and that's a corporate environment, there's a proper way of doing things, even how you send your emails, how you talk to your colleagues, how you share, how you comport yourself in your shared facilities and things like that. Some people need guidance on this. I mean, I've worked with some companies as well that they've called me in just to talk to their staff because it becomes very difficult for the HR manager to have to tell people how to behave in the shared facilities, quarters and things like that.
Remember?
And and even just internal communications, how we're actually asking for help, how we're directing people to do things. There's a tone that you use when you're speaking to somebody face to face, and then it's a completely different one when it's an email and it's written. So we have to be aware of all of these things,
No, I had a little giggle there because I remembered, where we used to work before and some of the things that we used to see and some of the things that sometimes we had to have, sessions on training on. So that's really important. At what age would you say that, we should start training our children on having good manners, good etiquette?
I don't think it's ever too early. I mean, it has to be a way of life. We're human beings and we have to treat others with respect. And I think that starts from infancy. So most parents do that naturally anyway, without even really thinking about it. But I would say, once the children are able to talk back or, hold their utensils and things like that, you can actually start introducing them to table manners. You don't have to be strict about it, but just showing them and rewarding them when they're getting it. And throughout their life, you can keep revisiting it because etiquette is forever evolving. today, the things that are important to you are maybe even just learning how to sit down at the table and finish a meal without splattering it all over yourself. And then as you grow, there's social media etiquette. We have to be so much more aware. Information is out there all the time. And we're now going into different dimensions that were not there like 20, 30 years ago. So there's also correct behavior to be taking part in such areas.
No, when you said splattering, I just pictured, and you don't want to know what I pictured. I wouldn't even tell you what I pictured. But but then sometimes, I don't know, but sometimes in the culture as well,
yes,
different cultures, do different things and all that. You'd go to, let's say, a local restaurant, and you see somebody, they finish eating their fufu, they've enjoyed it very, very nice. They picked their bowl, their sanka bowl, and then they're drinking from the bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, that you would probably say is not good etiquette.
But you see, that's the thing, Renee. It's all about where you are, and it's also about not offending the people around you. If everybody is doing it, then who are you really offending?
Okay.
And that is it. We are a culture of people that eat with our hands. We should never be told that is bad etiquette, because it's part of our culture.
Right.
And there's certain foods that only go with eating with your hands.
Definitely.
Do you see what I mean? So what you don't want to do is find yourself in that environment and rather make everybody feel uncomfortable. You'll rather sit in there, turning up your nose at everybody.
Knife.
That is actually
your banku with
precisely, and that is actually bad manner, because it stops everyone from feeling free.
Right.
However, if you were at a high state banquet and you were doing those sorts of things, then you would really be the odd one out.
Right.
And what you should have done is checked how to comport yourself at that table.
So etiquette goes a lot with, your society, your environment,
organization, and even your family dynamics.
Right. Oh, this is really, really good. I mean, thank you so much for coming on, for agreeing to come on, because this is all what, the Renee Q show is about. At the end of it, I like to say it's about life and how we are living it.
Exactly.
How are we living every day? And these are some of the things that a lot of people maybe don't know, but we don't talk about it.
Yes.
So we probably will see somebody, we won't say anything, then we go behind, did you see, blah, blah, blah. But until we talk about it and we are taught and everything, we won't really, and that's why I have to congratulate you. It's a great thing that you're doing, the personal classes, one-on-one classes, the group classes and all that.
I also appreciate you inviting me on today, because I think that there is a misconception about etiquette trainers. The minute you engage in conversation with somebody and you tell them you're an etiquette trainer, straight away they become self-conscious. Oh, am I doing it properly? You're probably going to be judging me. And it's really not about that. As you can tell, I'd like people to believe that I'm a very approachable and nice person to be around. And I'm here for whatever needs that you have, whether it's your business needs or whether it's a personal need. I'm very, very approachable. So nobody should feel intimidated, because like everybody else, I also had to go and learn. And once you do, you're just given that extra boost of confidence. So it's nice to be able to explain that on a show like this, because, through social media and advertising, you don't really get that interaction to be able to answer very direct questions like this. So I appreciate my time being here as well.
Oh, you're so very welcome. So let me ask, don't tell us the exacts, but during the classes, did you realize certain things that you were doing that was bad etiquette?
Myself?
Yes, yourself. I mean, you don't have to tell us exactly what, but I'm just wondering.
I spend a lot of time preparing for my classes, and I do that based on the profile of my clients or students. So as much as possible, I just try to match the content to where they are in life. So, I'd like to believe that I am not doing it, that I'm not actually doing anything negative or contrary to what the outcome should be. I would definitely say that maybe there were things that I did before that I did not realize that were falling out of etiquette, innocently, and not because, I don't really care, but it's because I actually just wasn't exposed to certain things. And I think one of the main things was even the table manners. I grew up in England. Eating with a knife and fork at primary school was standard. It was the norm. But even then, there's even a correct way to hold your utensils and things like that. And, you know, even the pace at which you eat is something that I learned as well. So yeah, you never stop learning.
And opening your mouth when you're eating.
Yes.
You know, but what I found is that a lot of little children, they can't close their mouths when they're eating. It's almost like they can't breathe or something.
Precisely.
When you say close your mouth, then it's like,
yeah. But it's something that, you know, they can grow out of. It's just baby steps. You don't have to be so heavy on infants, you know, because they're going to continue to evolve and continue to change. But you can actually start to expose them to little things. And like I said, at each stage of life, you just deepen it a little bit more.
Right.
You know.
Right. That's great. That's great to hear. Great to know. Now I'm wondering, like, as a company, right, hiring you to come and speak to my staff. So say I'm a huge corporation, you know, like hundreds of staff and everything. How would it change? How would my staff learning or knowing about good etiquette change my company?
Okay, so I think that it would change. It depends on what kind of company that you are. Are you customer facing, or is it that you want to enrich the relationship of your employees so that they work better in harmony together? Both of those things can be done through training through an etiquette coach. You know, either we'd break down the groups of people and do some team building exercises and then really trickle down about internal communications. This would always have to be done with the help of your HR to really identify the problem areas. And once we know those, there's always etiquette for fixing almost every scenario or situation there is. So it all depends on your outcome. But, you know, relationships can very much be enriched through etiquette training.
This is great. This is great. Now, I'm just wondering, you know, we all have family, we have friends, and maybe there's one particular one who has such bad etiquette. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Like, you go to a wedding, you see that particular person and you start thinking, oh no, don't come and do it here. You know, how can you help somebody like that? Because like you said, it's not intentional.
Yeah.
It's not like they've dressed up to go and, you know, embarrass themselves or other people. They just don't know.
Yes.
So how do you help somebody like that?
So, you know, it's an interesting question, but I would really caution on the side of pointing out people's flaws to them. What you don't want to do is make somebody feel uncomfortable, especially at a wedding, a joyous celebration like that. But, you know, personally, when I didn't necessarily know things, I always like to hang back a little bit and observe and then go with the flow. And you hope that somebody like that, after seeing the way everybody else behaves as well, would also alter maybe their behavior slightly.
Well, the point I'm making is they don't. That's the point I'm making. They don't see and they don't care. It's all about them and what they're doing. And you want them to grow. So this is actually, this question is actually, it's for us to be able to help other people. Yes. You know, because you see a lot, and this is part of our culture really. Yes. Where we see things that are wrong, we don't say anything. Oh, it doesn't matter. With that mentality, it doesn't matter. Oh, it's their business. We won't grow. I mean, I don't mind when, like, and I like that you said not at the wedding. So you're not going to go there and tap the person and say, stop that, not that. You know, but I'm just talking about, you know, your friend, your very good friend, your family. You know, how can you help them?
Okay, so you've touched on a couple of keywords. It's the relationship you have with the person, whether they're a relative or a friend. And I'd like to believe that if somebody is your friend, when you approach them with something, they should have an open mind to know that it's in their best interest in which you are bringing up this conversation. And, you know, it can be done in such a way where, you know, you would invite maybe 2 people at a time and say, oh, look, this is what I'm doing. I have this class, you should come and join me. Or I've been thinking about reaching out to family so that they know a little bit about what I do. And, you know, so that you're not just targeting one person to make them feel like they're the black sheep of the family or the odd one out. You know, we always have to be sensitive to other people's feelings. And what you don't want is for them to have a very closed mind coming in and feeling already defensive. And therefore, they're not going to be in the mood to learn anything. Whereas when it seems like a fun thing that, you know, you're given the opportunity for everybody else to join in, you'd probably win them over like that. And it's important, like you said.
It is. So how do you run your classes?
Okay, so with the children, I generally separate them into age categories, simply because if you're like a 16-year-old boy, you know, you're not going to have the same thing in common with a 9-year-old girl. Yeah. So we just try and group them as close to age as possible, and their lifestyle, the things that they're into, and skew the content to them. You know, it's funny, because I've often found that whenever I'm welcoming my guests for the first time, you always see that the boys are coming in just thinking, all right, this is a complete waste of my Saturday. This is a girl's thing. What are we even going to come and learn? You see it in their body language, their facial expressions. And at the end, there's a complete turnaround, because they realize that the content is so relevant to them. And, you know, they even participate sometimes more than the females. Wow. So, you know, it's one of those things, but it's just knowing your audience, and then you can skew your content accordingly.
Mums, I hope you're enjoying this. and it's great because, look, now mothers are really, really busy. There's not a lot of time. You know, a lot of the time, the children are left with nannies. The nannies sometimes don't know it all. You know, so it's great sometimes to actually invest. I would call it an investment, because you're investing in your child.
You are.
You know,
you are.
I would call it an investment, because they're going to be even better. They're going to grow up to be well-mannered, you know, to have that poise that somebody else will see and admire.
And it doesn't, like you said it at the beginning, it doesn't even stop at the children. You know, sometimes the clients have come to me and brought their children to me, and then in the end, the mothers have actually taken their own courses afterwards, you know, so the reverse can actually happen.
You can even send your nanny, actually. If your nanny is always with your children,
absolutely.
You can even send your nanny and train your nanny. You know, to the standard that you want your children to grow, if your nanny is always with your children.
Precisely, and representing you as a member of the family.
Yes. And PAs as well, personal assistants as well. I think that will also be a good training for them. Because sometimes you know somebody, you know what they stand for, you know their brand, you know their business. And the PAs are something else. Let's not talk about PAs. Let's take a break. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. We're back, and today I'm talking to Sika Goka on etiquette. I've learned so much myself. I'm on the next class, trust me, because there's so much more we have to learn. And it's really having an open mind.
Absolutely.
And knowing that you're not perfect. Nobody in this world is perfect. And I love that you said, you know, it keeps changing as the world is growing and all that. So there's always something more to learn.
Yes.
And even now doing this, I'm wondering, is that good?
You're being expressive, and there's nothing wrong with that, because it's emphasizing what you are saying.
No, I'm just kidding and pulling your leg. But you know I'm going to be in that class. So Sika, I have a gift for you.
Oh.
Yes. You know how special you are to me. And I give a gift to all my guests, you know, just to say thank you, to show them that they are very, very, very special women. I want you to pull it out and let's all see, and let me tell you about it. Let me tell you about it.
Yes, I've been wanting one of these. So just explain it to me. It's so beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this is the Renee Q Love Pillow. Okay, maybe I should hold it and explain. Okay. So number one is in the form of a heart. Yes. I love hearts. I love the fact that it's very mushy and you can just hold it and squeeze it, you know. But I formed this. I did this a couple of years ago for women to have. Every woman has to have one, by the way. Come and get one, you know, just to keep reminding themselves of how special they are. You know, I love the butterfly. You know, it's on all my logos. I love butterflies because I love the story of the butterfly. How from a very nasty caterpillar, ugly caterpillar, you know, it has become this beautiful butterfly that, you know, is just so graceful even when it's flying. I just love the story of the butterfly. And it's almost like the story of life.
Yes.
That sometimes you go through very, very tough times. You don't know, you're asking yourself why and all that. But it's a story of hope. You know, to just keep looking ahead and just believing that very soon, one day, you'll be that graceful, beautiful butterfly and you'll be flying. So this is a love pillow for you to just keep reminding yourself of things you love about yourself. So anytime you're holding it and squeezing it, it's all about you.
Yes.
And you have to have that time when it's all about you. So Sika, I want you to tell us here, tell us one thing that you love about yourself. Squeeze it and tell us.
Well, first of all, thank you very, very much for my beautiful love pillow. I've always wanted one of these. I used to see them on your social media, so now I'm a beholder of one of these myself. So thank you so much,
Renee. You're so welcome.
One of the things that I love about myself, I think, is how much I love others, especially, you know, my close friends and family. If you have me in your life, I'm going to be around forever. I don't make, you know, I'm not fickle with my friendships because I put my heart and soul into everything. So when you're part of me, you know, we're going to be together forever, and that's who I am. So. And
that's what each and every one of us needs, a loyal friend. Yeah. So I'm so blessed to have you.
Amen.
Thank you so much. It's been an amazing time. I've learned so much. I'm sure all the viewers are like. So Sika, how can one reach you? So if somebody's interested in one of your classes, how can we reach you?
Right, okay. You can reach me via my website at sgetiquette.com.
Okay.
There you'll find contact details for WhatsApp, Instagram, any of those mediums, and I'm available.
Okay,
I'm always ready to talk. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And many thanks. I have to say a huge thank you to one of our sponsors, Apricot Lifestyle Concept Store, for allowing us to use their beautiful store here in East Legon for the set of the Renee Q show. And you have to come here, ladies. You have to come here. I mean, the clothing here, the accessories. I mean, this place is just so, it's not just this, there's something there. Yeah. You have to come and you have to come and see it. I have to say another big thank you to another one of my sponsors who chooses to remain anonymous. Can you imagine? I have to say a huge God richly bless you. And if you love what we are doing here on the Renee Q show and you want to be a sponsor, just send me a DM on Instagram. You could follow me at ReneeQGH. And a big thank you to you for watching. We'll see you next week. Stay safe and stay blessed.